Let's see. Okay. Uh, mm, 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 mm. All right. So, good evening. So, today is officially my virtual book launch. Yay! And so, here is my book, Black Health Considered from a Holistic Perspective. And so, yes, so I'm super excited about this. Thank you to everybody that pre-ordered already. And so all of the people that pre-ordered should have received tracking numbers. Their books should have already gone out. And so thank you guys for the support. I got more people ordered than I expected. I have not really been promoting this. I've not really been putting this out there. And so I was really excited to see so many people wanting a copy of the book. And so again, those copies have gone out. I'm so excited. I'm super excited. This has been a labor of love. This has been a labor of love. This took me a while to put together. I want to show you guys some of the inside of the book. I want to show you the table of contents. I want to read a little bit out of there. And then if anybody had any questions, I want to answer your questions. So if you have any questions about the book, please let me know so that I can try to answer them while I'm on this live. And so again, excited about my virtual book launch. Yay! Jazz hands. And so, yeah, this definitely has been it's been a long way coming. Shout out to my editor, Michelle Cameron. And so I definitely recommend her. So if you are an author or an aspiring author and you need an editor, please reach out to Michelle Cameron. If you need her information, send me a message and I will give you her website and her contact information for the purpose of getting your manuscript edited. And so where did this book come from? I was in grad school a couple years ago and I had a question. And I started to ponder why I was seeing some of the things I saw as it related to the health of Black people. I had a whole lot of questions and not a lot of answers. And so this book came from a question. I began to dig in and do some research, and I found out a lot of things. There's so much in here. There's a lot more I could have shared. I tried to keep this very simple in the fact of this is not a textbook. I'm not going to sit and talk about amino acids and nucleotides and all that stuff. I wanted to take the things that everyday people needed to know and that things that everyday people could take and put into their arsenal and point them in the direction that they need so that we can begin to work on improving our health as a people. Health is wealth. And so, being obviously a Black female Christian, I've been around a lot of believers that are, they're in the prayer line for healing, but then they're eating Doritos and donuts. And so not shading or shaming anyone, but the way we eat affects our health, our lifestyle choices, stress, life experiences, trauma. There's so many things that have an impact on our health. And so this book actually has, I think it's 31 chapters. Don't be intimidated. Some of the chapters are literally like 2 pages long. So these are not long chapters. And so, but I believe the book has, if I can get to it, drum roll, the book has 32 chapters. And so some of the chapters, the very first chapter is discussing some of the most common health issues seen among the Black population. And then I break it down by gender because some of the top health concerns for Black males are not some of the top health concerns for Black females. So, for example, I have a chapter on fibroids. A lot of Black women suffer with fibroids. That's not something relevant to men. I have another chapter where I talk about prostate cancer. That is pertaining to Black males. Women don't have a prostate. And so because obviously there's difference between, men and women, there are some chapters that are more gender specific. And so in the first chapter, I did break some things down by gender. I talk a lot about the impact of stress. I, for one, we know we stress. We know we're going through things. We know life is tough. We know that, inflation is there and all these things, but I don't think we recognize, especially because a lot of us deal with stress, prolonged stress for so long, you don't recognize it. It has become so normal that you don't even realize the amount of stress that you're under and how it's having an impact on your body and your physical health and your mental health. And so one thing about it, I do some storytelling in here, and I talk a little bit about my journey, especially I share with my journey, my 2 pregnancies. I even did a blog about that. I have to learn that I am such a private person that I don't really say much, but I have had some life experiences that can be relevant to some people. But I did share in the book how when I was a single mother before I was married, that those were some of the most stressful times and stressful years of my life. And so, when it comes to stress, single mothers are definitely, a lot of times under a lot of stress. And so I do a lot of talking about stress and even introducing the Black holistic health stress model, and as well as I presented my own Black holistic health model in general, and I kind of broke it down by the different components and different things like that. Oh, let me fix my camera. Just a second. I think I hit my camera and I knocked it. I knocked my camera off. Okay, there we go. All right, I'm back. So I did share about that. And so, like I said, the book is 32 chapters long, but a lot of the chapters are very, very short, so they're not really, really long. But again, this book came from a question, just wanting to know more about the health of Black people and why, in a lot of ways, when you look at some things, you'll see that, certain forms of cancers are more aggressive in African American people, or you'll see where the life expectancy was behind certain health concerns are worse for African American people, because a lot of times we hear things and we think it's not a big deal. We all heard of diabetes and hypertension, and I didn't realize how bad those health concerns were and how serious they were until I really started doing some research, and then I began to connect the dots with why a lot of African Americans are dealing with kidney problems, and then a lot of times that leads to dialysis and a lot of other things. So there is a lot packed in here. It's divided into sections. So the first section, I'm dealing with physiological health, or the health of your physical body. The next section is dealing with, hey, thank you. God bless you. Thank you, Bianca. Hey to my mom and dad. I definitely put a, hey, Cherie, good evening. Hey, Sherry. So I definitely, let's see, y'all didn't throw me off. Oh, okay. So I did, just FYI, if you did order the book, you'll see that I put a dedication in there to my parents, because they are, I am. And so I thank God for them, and I'm grateful for them being on here today. And so, so the second section is dealing with mental health. And so if you've been around me, or if you know anything about me, you know that I'm a big proponent of, when it comes to mental health advocacy and wanting to see people get the help and the treatment that they need. The third section is dealing with holistic health. And so when I deal with holistic health, I let people know, because for me, I shied away from the term holistic health. Anytime I saw anything holistic, I just automatically said no, because in a lot of spaces, people lead holistic health with spirituality. And a lot of times the spirituality they lead with may not be something that is in agreement with me as a Christian. So with that said, I had to get a better understanding to realize, when we talk about holistic health, we're just talking about your health in a sum total and everything that can impact or affect your health. So you may recognize that, I don't know, a person may recognize that they're dealing with a lot of anxiety, but they may not recognize that it can be exacerbated by stress. And so trying to find ways to reduce their stress. Our diet also has a big role in how we feel in our physical body, our health, and it even affects our mental health. Eating good, clean food will also help us feel better because we're giving our body what it needs versus eating a lot of junk food and processed food, which gives us a lot of empty calories. And we just find ourselves snacking because our body is wanting certain things and it's not getting it. I talk about spiritual health in here. And so when I talk about spiritual health, I do it from a Christian perspective with the understanding that everybody is not a Christian. So I make it is broad, but I do bring it in certain places and perspectives. I let it be known what my stance is as a Christian woman, but then I'm open and understanding that when I'm talking about Black health in general, everybody's not a believer. Everybody may not have the same spiritual beliefs and believe in the same things I believe in. And so I do acknowledge that. And then the last section, I talk about things such as Black children and lead poisoning. I don't think we really understand. I personally believe that we are in a silent lead exposure crisis and we just don't know it. If you've been looking at the news, you may have or may not have seen a lot of the recalls where lead is being found in food. Lead is being found in a lot of places where lead does not belong. And so I did a lot of talk about that because after the Flint water crisis, I saw something on TV that I never saw again. And I began to dig and I found some old articles from the APA, which is the American Psychiatric Association, where they talked about how exposure to lead can lead to lower IQ, aggressiveness in school, low academic performance. And even there was some articles where they were saying that there's a greater chance of a person being incarcerated if they're exposed to lead. That was a light bulb for me because who is the majority of people that are being incarcerated? Who are the majority of people that are having academic issues in school? And so sometimes we have to begin to look at things and at least consider what's being said and examine it. So, hey, Shantae, thank you for popping on here. And so, like I said, there was a lot that went into this. I talked about, Black women and hair loss. I talked about dental care. I've lost count of the number of people, Black people I know, adults, that never went to the dentist as children. Like a lot of people. A lot of people were never taught and never really understood the importance of good oral hygiene and taking care of your teeth. Because I think a lot of times we don't understand that your teeth can affect your health. We just think, oh, it's a tooth. If it goes bad, pull it out. But taking care of our teeth, brushing, flossing, getting the dental care is very important. But then I made sure I addressed the fact that everybody doesn't have dental health care. A lot of clinics that do take Medicaid and things like that, a lot of times tend to be hard for people to get appointments, or some of the things they need done, they necessarily can't really get done. And so there's a lot of barriers. I do talk about a lot of the barriers when it comes to even preventative care and having a primary care physician. I talk about all those things because those are a lot of things that sometimes we don't have and we don't know, because a lot of times people that are a lower socioeconomic status will use the emergency room as a PCP. So they'll go to the ER and be like, I'm here because I'm having chest pains, but you know what? I have this rash that's been on my leg the last 10 years. Can you look at that too? And so it's just important that we have these conversations about health because we don't have them. And a lot of African-American people are dealing with a lot of health issues very early. I saw something on the news. I don't know if you guys saw it, but there's a rapper, we've all probably heard of him, Snoop Dogg. His daughter ended up having a stroke. I believe she has lupus, and she she had stopped taking her medicine, and she was trying to care for herself by natural means. But we're seeing, I said that to say, we're seeing more and more younger people having a lot of health issues a lot earlier. And so we have to start breaking away from a lot of the fast food, a lot of the processed foods. Did you know that a lot of food that you can buy in America is banned in other countries around the world? So before you eat something, ask yourself, is this going to add to my health or take away from my health? And so I can speak for myself that I'm trying to undo what I didn't know any better decades ago. And so wherever you are in life, if you're 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, wherever you are in life, pick up today so that we can try to hold on to whatever health that we have left while we're still in the earth. And so I do want to read to you guys a portion of the intro to the book. And so here you can see the intro is just kind of the purpose of the book. So I'm going to read a little bit about this. I have seen some of the comments on here. So if you guys do have any questions, let me know. I'd love to engage with you while I'm still on here, because I'm not going to be on here long. And so, and I'm definitely going to let you guys know where to get the book. We are a little bit behind. There was a snag with getting it put onto all the online platforms like it should be, but it's still available, and you can order a copy today and it can mail tomorrow. But so dealing with the intro, this is the intro, page 1. It says, I've learned that health is wealth, and like many others, I'm now trying to rectify the years I spent not knowing this simple truth. Many people are unaware, myself included, I didn't know, how poor dietary and lifestyle choices can impact their physical health negatively. The same lack of knowledge can be applied to our mental health, especially when we are still fighting against stigmas and other misconceptions that keep people from seeking professional mental health services. We will know that we are at the point of going off the deep end and will not ask for help. Not good, right? Also, we need to learn the role that faith can play in our spiritual health and not misuse it to fix things that require professional care or some simple adjustments that we can make on our own. Simply put, we pray and we do. And so we pray and we go to Planet Fitness. We pray and we eat healthier. And so everything is not the responsibility of God. There are things as human beings that we can do for ourselves and that we should do for ourselves. And so being a good steward over our health and being a good steward as far as our dietary or life choices, that's on us. God he's not going to make us do that. So as Black people, our health is of great concern. In fact, many of our people lack trust in doctors and the healthcare system. We can all admit that this lack of trust was rightly earned as we reviewed closely many of the atrocities that occurred in the past. However, we see the need to share information that can help us evolve and transform so that we can safeguard our health as much as possible. Health is a complicated topic for Black people, especially those of the diaspora. The ugly truth in history of how Black people were used as guinea pigs, where they were brutally traumatized and tortured in the name of advancing science and medicine, has left a bitter taste and a high level of skepticism in many. Those same individuals that were subjected to such abhorrent treatment were never able to experience the benefits that came from their blood, tears, and pain. As we review the past, we can see the origin of the systems that are in place today, along with the mindsets that have perpetuated a disregard for Black pain. It is a proven fact, and you can Google it, that even to this day, I don't know why this still exists, there are doctors that believe Black people don't feel pain like other people, as if we're super normal, as if we're superhuman, or as if we don't have the ability to feel pain. And so there's been a lot of research studies done showing that if a Black person goes to the hospital and says, hey, I'm in pain, and asks for medicine, they're quicker to be dismissed as someone that's simply trying to get pills versus someone that's actually trying to get relief from pain. And so, so the purpose of this book is to highlight some of the things that are I'm skipping around, having a significant impact on the health of Black people overall, and to show accurate, up-to-date scientific information in a practical way so that anyone can understand. Now, I stand in I can see both sides. I understand that a lot of people do not trust the scientific and medical community, and that's rightfully so. But sometimes we can, as a people, gravitate towards things that are absolutely false. And so, for instance, a lot of Black people are more into alternative medicine and alternative health practices, which is fine. And then that stuff may work for some people. But what we're seeing happening is that people that have health concerns that need to be monitored are just trying to use natural means, but their health is too far gone. So, for example, there was a guy that was trying to treat people. He wasn't even a doctor. He was trying to treat people that were diabetic with these herbs he had, and multiple people end up dying. And so it's very important to understand that whatever you do, make sure you keep a line of communication with your health professional, because there are a lot of people out here trying to sell pills, potions, and powders and herbs and all type of things, but they don't know what your health looks like. They don't know what the baseline of your health is. And so what works for one person could be detrimental to another. So I intended to write this book in a way that is impactful but not intimidating to readers, with pages filled with medical terminology and scientific language, which is not a good fit for the intended audience of this book. So you're not going to hear me talking about, aldehydes and ketones and esters and organic chemistry and using a bunch of terminology that isn't beneficial. And so I try to make things very plain and down to the point, down to earth as possible. So skipping a little bit. So it says, we can attest over the years before health related issues progressed. Some can attest that over the years before health related issues progressed, their doctors made suggestions for dietary changes and an increase in exercise, and it was all ignored. We must become more proactive and not reactive. So most people, some Black people are absolutely scared to go to the doctor because they don't want bad news. And by not going to the doctor, sometimes by the time they do go, there is bad news. And then sometimes, where something isn't out of control, the doctor may give some suggestions, and people don't change their diet and their diet and their lifestyle, and something may progress, and then all of a sudden the sky is falling, and they want to just try to hurry up and undo everything, but that's not necessarily possible. And so please note that I am fully aware that racial bias, healthcare disparities, and a lack of health equity all play a role in many of the health challenges that Black people face. Especially true for Black women when you begin to consider maternal health, postpartum health, infant mortality rates, and maternal mortality rates. However, if you're reading this book, please know that I'm not writing to focus solely or heavily on health disparities, health insurance, and other barriers that we face as it pertains to quality care. Although those topics could not be avoided during the process of writing this book, I want to focus more on things we can learn, changes we can make, and behaviors we can break to see an upturn in Black health. So there's for instance, one particular chapter is on poverty. And so I mentioned in that chapter how Black people that may be in a situation where they are low income, they may have, poverty has a way of affecting every area of your life. A lot of times if a person is of lower income, they may live in a neighborhood where there's a food desert. If they don't have a car and transportation, they may limit their ability to get adequate jobs, which would allow them to live in a better neighborhood, because a lot of times in lower income neighborhood, there's a lot of environmental factors that can affect your health, such as things that are being released in the water, things that are in the air, noise pollution, lead in the soil, and lead in the water, lead in the paint, things like that. And so if a person is lower income, they may not be able to get the proper dental care they need. They may not get the best health care They may not be able to get the best mental health care because a lot of times people are limited when they don't have private insurance and they don't have access to things like that. So I also talk about Black people and incarceration, how incarceration has a severe negative effect on the health, mental health, and basically the holistic health of Black people. Whenever I always tell people when they have a loved one that's incarcerated, I'm like, the person that went in is not going to be the person that comes out. No one goes into incarceration and they're not changed in some way, shape, or form. And so I also talk about trying to think. I have to remember what all the chapters are. Also talk about sickle cell anemia. We know that sickle cell anemia is something that primarily affects a lot of African Americans, and unfortunately, a lot of times things that affect minority groups the most don't always have the most progress when it comes to the fastest progress when it comes to like treatment and breakthroughs and research and stuff like that. I also talk about arthritis. I talk about breaking generational cycles. A lot of times, some of us are the first one, the only one in our family. Sometimes you have to be the one in your family. And so I talk about, breaking those generational cycles and the things we can do to get our total health under control, because it's I see people sometimes and I'm like, I'm proud, proud of you. You're trying to take care of yourself. You're exercising and you're eating better, but how's your spiritual health doing? Are you meditating? Do you read your word? Are you praying? Do you fast? And so we are a spirit and a body, and we possess a soul. And so there's more to us than just our body. There's more to us than just our mind. There's more to us than just the spiritual aspect of us. So you have to take care of every part of you while you are alive in this earth. And you have to recognize what are the things that are affecting my health in any way, shape, or form that can bring harm to me. And so in writing this book, I never really thought about environmental health. Environmental health, I remember there's a lawsuit in the city I'm living in because there's a factory that's been releasing stuff in the air, of course, in a lower income neighborhood, and people have been getting sick. And there's lawsuits flying, and it's just like a lot of back and forth and stuff like that. And so I talk about things like that because unfortunately, a lot of there's still a good number of African Americans that are would be considered lower income, and so a lot of times lower income limits where people can live. And when you look at the environment, depending on where someone is, they may live in a neighborhood that may have more crime, that may have less opportunities, that may have more environmental factors going on. So all those things matter. Even trauma, how trauma can affect you. Not a lot of people are still, I made a post the other day on Facebook. I said it makes me sad to know that so many adults are still trying to heal from their childhood, because a lot of people have been traumatized significantly by their childhood, and that trauma has followed them to their adulthood, and it's not, and because it hasn't been dealt with, it's affecting their mental health. And when your mental health is not at your best, your mental health, I always say when you're not at your best, you can't be your best. And so you can't be the best spouse, you can't be the best parent, you can't be the best employee, you can't be your best anything when you're not your best. And so mental health is so important. And I always tell people that mental health is health. I know we try to, skirt and skate around mental health and, just try to spiritualize it all, or just think that we can talk people out of the mental health issues that they're having, instead of realizing that mental health is a serious concern, and that, sometimes people need to get the professional help that they need. There are a lot of people that are carrying things and they don't know how to process it. They don't know how to deal with it. And here I do talk about how, trauma, and mental health issues can affect your mood. Some people that are struggling with mental health issues, they may deal with absenteeism from work. They may have poor physical hygiene, poor hygiene. They may struggle with building and maintaining healthy relationships. So it shows how everything kind of comes full circle. I talk about social health. I talk about financial health. Financial health it has the ability to just affect your life in so many ways, because the less money you have, the less you can do. So if you know, the more money you have, the more you can do. So having a lack of access to finances and resources affects a lot of people's lives in a lot of negative ways. And so I talk about all that in there. I'm really excited. I don't want to keep blabbing, but I'm just really excited about this. This has, taken me quite a while to get this done. I wanted to quit, but my between my husband and my editor, I pushed through. My editor was like, I can't let you just take this book and not release it. I was gonna never release it. The people that pre-ordered it, I was gonna give them their money back, and just say, hey, I'm not doing this, but I'm grateful for the push of my editor again. So if anybody needs a great editor, reach out to Michelle Cameron. And also shout out to my husband for supporting me and pushing me to get this done, because this has been a labor of love. So it's here. The baby is here. This definitely has been a long ways coming. So again, thank you to those that pre-ordered. Thank you to those that are going to be ordering, in the future. I really want to hear the feedback and your thoughts and your concerns, on this book. I can't wait. For those who I think some people have already gotten their books. So those that ordered, some have already gotten their books. Some are going to get their books. So I just want to say thank you to those that have supported this. I want to say thank you to those that will support. And I did want to see if anybody had any questions, comments, or concerns. How can we get the book? Okay, so the book is available. I'm gonna type this link on here. I'm literally typing right now, so that's why. And I'm going to. Okay, so there is the link to get the book. If you order it tonight, it will be shipped tomorrow in the morning. And so I've already shipped out, I think, a couple shipments of books. And so anybody that orders tomorrow by noon should have their order shipped tomorrow, I believe. It should ship tomorrow at the latest on Thursday. And so we try to get them shipped out pretty fast. And so we were shipping books even over the weekend. So yeah, so that is where you can get it. Go to blackhealthbook.com. That's the website that I have for the book. And so please feel free to share the link, share the book, let somebody know about. Definitely look forward to you guys reaching out to me with your feedback, with your thoughts and your concerns. I've been very, very nervous to release this book. I've written multiple books, and none have caused me to feel more nervous than this one. This book has made me very, very nervous. This was a huge undertaking. There was a lot of research that went into it, trying to make sure that things were as accurate as possible. I mean, it was a lot, when you're talking about, looking up, risk factors for things, and, what other health disorders are associated with that. And, then looking at the mental health piece, like with one thing I talked about in the section that deals with mental health is, I made sure that I explained to people the different type of mental health providers that are out there. A lot of people think that a psychiatrist and a psychologist are the same, and I've had to explain that quite a few times. So that's in there. So you can see, so this is the holistic, there's a holistic health section. Those are the chapters. Other concerns, those are the chapters. Then if I go forward, you can see the first section is physiological health. Those are the chapters. The next section is mental health. You can see what the chapters are. And then there's spiritual health. You can see what the chapters are. And so the chapters are divided into sections. And so, you can dive in wherever you want to, figure out, what works for you and things like that. And so any other questions while I'm on here? Any other questions, comments, or concerns? Anybody have any questions about the book, the content of the book. I just gave the link for where to get the book. Were there any other questions? Anything? Anybody? Anyone? And so, yeah, so we're a little bit over 30 minutes because I'm like, okay, this is going to be 30 minutes because I'm really huge on like time. I did do some significant talking about sleep. Getting sleep and getting adequate rest are so important. Like I didn't realize how important it was to get enough rest. Like it is so important to make sure you're getting enough rest. Like I completely have abandoned the whole grinding it out culture. You got to lose sleep to win. But I'm like, if you lose so much sleep that you get sick, was it even worth it when you can't even enjoy it? Because now your health is gone. And so I talk a lot about, sleep and getting enough rest, taking care of yourself, self-care, all those things. And when I say self-care, not just talking about, the images we see now where somebody's taking a bubble bath and, that's fine. That's relaxing, but self-care goes beyond that. Self-care can mean doing what you need to do to get your physical health under control, changing your diet and exercise. And self-care can also include going to see a mental health professional so that you can overcome trauma and issues that have been holding you back. Self-care can mean, taking the time to spend more time doing the spiritual practices that benefit you. There's so much research that shows that, people that attend church service and people that, have a particular faith path, is beneficial to their mental health in a good way. And so all those things matter. So this is the back of the book. I don't think I showed the back. So this is this. And so that is that. And so, so this is it. So again, thank you for taking time to be on here with me tonight. I don't see any questions. I don't even think I see any comments over here. So thank you for joining me tonight. Thank you for those that pre-ordered and those that supported. Thank you, to those that, plan on purchasing it. Thank you in advance. And so thank you guys for being on here. Thank you, Cherie. Thank you, Shekinah, and everybody else. Thank you to my parents, my spouse, and everybody else that has been on here. I really appreciate you guys. And so, so I'm not long-winded. I'm going to go ahead and get off here. I don't see any other questions or anything. So to that, I would just say thank you so much and good night. How much? I think it's like $14.97 or $18.97. It's not even $20. That I can't remember. But if you go to the link and you click on pre-order, it'll pop up and it'll show you how much it is. All right. So thank you guys. Good night.